Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about Helbiz, going with the ticker HLBZ. Now in this video we're going to go towards due diligence, technical analysis, and what we can expect in the next few days. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So HLBZ, this company here has debuted on NASDAQ recently and became the first US publicly listed shared micromobility company on NASDAQ. They have different bikes including the Helbiz Go, Helbiz Bike, and the Helbiz Moped. You're also able to go ahead and ride as low as 0.15 or 15 cents per minute. And you're able to see vehicles around you. It's basically like a ride share bike that you've seen probably around if you've been into any urban city recently. So currently you're able to see that they do have some news that is recent, including announcing partnership between Helbiz Media and Fox Network Group to broadcast Series B Championship, and Helbiz to participate in Bazinga Electric Vehicle Conference, and as well that was, by the way, on the 16th of September announced. On the 15th of September, Helbiz announced his sponsorship of the first Switzerland electric boat ceremony. On the 7th, micromobility leader Helbiz launches fleet of e-scooters in Durham, North Carolina, and in September 3rd, Helbiz to participate in the 6th annual Colliers Securities Virtual Institution Investors Conference. And basically from what we're seeing here is that they're quite active in the month of September for news and PRs, which you don't see a lot of. But in their presentation, we're able to understand a little bit better about their company. So first off, you got mobility. So they work in the last mile solutions, ranges from e-scooters to e-bikers to e-mopeds. Advertising, they got an integrated omni-channel advertising offerings on the Helbiz app. In 2020, there was more than $4 million in revenue for mobility and advertising combined, and around 29 licenses. By 2025, they're anticipating to grow more than 100 times, to be specific, almost 112 times in revenue. Now, they're also anticipating to have around 279 licenses, and that will break down into mobility being 74%, and advertising being 16%, and new verticals being 10%. Now, currently, you're able to see they have around 2.5 million users. Now, a ride for every preference, so it gives you anything between e-scooter, e-bike, and an e-moped. So the pricing for the e-scooter is currently set as $1 for unlocking and 30 cents per minute. And that comes as $18 per hour plus $1 unlock, which is actually pretty good for an e-scooter. E-bike is around the same thing. So that as well is quite interesting. I mean, if you're in a somewhere urban environment, it's probably going to take you around 30 minutes to get anywhere. And the e-mopeds are actually cheaper, as you get to see. They're 0.26 per minute rather than having it as 30 cents per minute with $1 unlock. So in the unlimited, drops you back to around $29.99, which is still less than if you were to rent, let's say, an e-bike or e-scooter for an hour. So it's quite interesting. I mean, if you're in an urban environment and you would like to move from point A or point B, this is kind of an interesting substitute than, let's say, vehicles. If you've been anywhere, let's say in downtown Toronto, this is kind of where the closest urban center is for me, getting stuck in traffic is really bad, especially when you have a car. Usually bikes can get around a lot easier and a lot faster. And you're able to see that they have this app, Mobility on Demand. You're able to also have a multimodal journey, whether it is basically through either bike to the subway, or I believe this is an LRT, and then going on towards a bike at the end. And you're able to see as well that the penetration, they're currently the #1 operator, market leader, and first mover in Italy. Around 26% of all people between 18 and 49 in key markets have our app installed, and around 60% of all 2020 Italian city tenders offered and we won, and around 65% tenders offer success rate in the United States. So why the future belongs to them? Now, key investments highlight an established market leader, a well-known brand with deep market penetration, a new regulatory landscape benefiting Helbiz, an experienced and reputable operator with a strong pipeline of licenses, and multiple revenue streams including less dependent on rental income, a proven business model, compelling unit economics, and clear path to profitability in 2021, and a market-leading technology, our proprietary technology platform, and an innovative multimodal platform, a broadened reach, value proposition, and city integration, in-house operations, which includes a higher level of control over service quality offerings, multiple catalysts ahead, including the new license expected to be signed in 2021, and a traction valuation. The pro forma currently is 1.9 times their 2022 estimated EV over revenue and 7.1 times 2022 EV over EBITDA, and a transaction includes an anticipated $30 million PIPE anchored by institutional investors in Helbiz shareholder rolling 100% of equity. Now you're able to see some boards of sale, but basically they're trying to go fully carbon dioxide neutral by 2022, completely recycled down to the last screw, and powered by 100% energy, renewable energy in partnership with Enel, and social equity, enabling people to move around. So that is some of their goals. They also are telling you that micromobility in the USA and Europe is expected to be between $300 and $450 billion market by 23, given that we're not neck deep into ocean water with the ocean rising levels if we don't meet that. Now, formula for regulatory success. They have developed significant knowledge internally and worked in external advisors navigating the regulatory environment, and they engage with regulators and local authorities for being more active and proactive. Now, basically 100% off proprietary technology developed in-house, including software focus and operation. This increases the efficiency through revenue per vehicle, optimized fleet management, and reduces theft and vandalism. Now, customer acquisition strategy, basically 70% of that is organic, 20% is partnership, and 10% is direct advertisement. This is their strategically placed vehicles act as a more mobile billboards, attracting and converting users while they are in the field and ready to consume their products. Looking forward, you're able to see basically you got the micromobility, you got advertisements, and payment and food should be on an easy to go. So this kind of gives you an idea on who they are. If you would like to know a little bit about their financials, they're expecting a pro forma enterprise value of around $320.5 million. Implied pro forma enterprise, we've gone through that, and profitability expected in 2021. So if we don't meet that profitability expected this year, that will really set it back. What you see here is that the pro forma ownership, the previous company, Helbiz, insiders have 73.6, the GV public shares plus rights around 19%, and you're able to see that they took a smaller part of the pie, which is quite normal in general these companies. And you're able to see that they're comparing themselves to Uber and Lyft in that sense, and showing how lower they are in terms of the multiples for 2021 and 2022 respectively as well, for 1.9 and 1.4 times. But in the general, all this stuff is just things like case studies, some things that might be interesting if you would like to go ahead and read it. Now let's move on towards institutional buyers. What we get to see from institutional buyers is that there's nothing significant coming out from September. Not a lot of disclosures has been happening here that would update these forms, but they say they have institutional buyers and we can believe them on that. Now, in terms of insiders, you're able to see that there's no change in the last 90 days, so we're going to skip through that. And in terms of volumes have really skyrocketed on the 17th, on the Friday. Around 40 to 60% of all shares are going towards the short selling side, but with this one here, the flow appears to be, at least on Finviz, to be around 3 million. So it's a very much of a micro float company, and you get to see it really did moves almost 100%. And that attracted a lot of people, around 50%. Now, around 18.6 million of those are going towards the short selling side, meanwhile around a volume of around 37 million. So that is quite interesting. It's fair to say that any person who was short selling before has been squeezed out. But anyway, short shares availability currently is at 0. That means there are no shares available for short selling as it is brimmed out. Now, let's move on towards technical analysis. From a technical analysis perspective, what we get to see here is that while volumes have really skyrocketed, mainly selling than buying, so selling has been more than buying, and MACD was going towards a negative reversal, and that kind of got kicked out towards a really bullish reversal, and the William percent R, which is very similar to relative strength index, is showing neutral, not overbought or oversold, just neutral. Now, on both of those two together are showing you really bullish action, but the way it happened might not be really sustainable. And if we were to go ahead, let's say, looking at all these kind of perspectives within a 15-minute perspective, you're able to see that volumes in general are not usually as continuous as you get to see currently. And if we were to go ahead with the Fibonacci retracements to try to identify where we're probably going to see the supports and resistances, currently the next support is around the 1613, then 1386, and 1105. The resistances are mainly around 1840, 2164, and 2576. If we were to go ahead with just understanding price line actions, we're able to see that there is a significant support at the 1762. If we break that, it's 1738 and then 1649, going downwards to around 1559, and then downwards to around 1428, and 1351 going downwards to around 1184, and then downwards to around 1035, and downwards to 903, going all the way down to around 772. Resistances, though, what we're seeing is that you're looking at 1840, 1876, going up to 1950, 2037, 2126, 2207, 2293, 2350, and 2476. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to happen? Well, it looks like currently volumes are drying up later on in the evenings, and that is kind of expected after 4 o'clock in general, but it looks like in the majority of the trading day, there is more buying than selling, and that could signify that there's a lot of people that are still holding this. And should you buy or sell? Well, it really is depending on how many people actually see this kind of company, the stock, and the kind of exposure that gets to it. This really goes towards people sharing it on social media and things like that, and it shows basically an interest in this new company. But currently, it's a couple of social influencers, quote unquote, that are really mentioning this one rather than it being a massive movement. If it doesn't have any other significant news or it doesn't create a buzz on the movement itself, it might retract back at least towards, let's say, the 1540s level to the $15. So that's something you need to worry about, because if it does break as well and it does drop below the 1325, you might be in trouble back to the $10. Now, what do you think about the sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.